Welcome to INGOTCIYDKHTUI, or better known as It's no good owning the calculator if you don't know how to use it. This time we're solving equations, and for this you will need the Casio ClassWiz FX991EX calculator or something similar that's good enough to have this solve function. The basic ones don't have the solve button. You need to have something like this, which I call the Ninja calculator. So how does this work? Well, the calculator can work out values to equations, numerical values to equations, but it can't do the algebra steps for you. So in the exam, you still need to show the working out and do the questions manually, but at least you can then type it in quite quickly and get an answer and check that you've done it right. Check if you've made mistakes with minus signs or if there's multiple answers and you've only got one and things like that. So it's a really good way of checking that you're not going to lose marks for making silly mistakes. What we're going to do is we're going to type this in exactly as it looks into the calculator and then use this button, the solve button. So to type it in, 3, and you can use alpha and then these red letters here to get an X in this case, but actually for X, because we use it so much, there is its own button. But let's just carry on, plus 12, and then don't press this equals, this is the work it out button, whereas we want to write the symbol equals, so alpha and the equals is on the solve button. 5x plus 4. Just double check that it does look exactly the same as you've got on the question, because if you type in the wrong question, it'll give you the wrong answer. Well, it'll give you the right answer, but not the one that you need. So just double check it. This looks okay. So I'm going to press Shift and solve. Now it comes up with x equals 24, but that's not the answer. This is the calculator saying, where do you want me to start looking? What the calculator's doing is it's starting at wherever you tell it to, and it's checking, does that answer work? And if it doesn't, it takes another guess closer to the answer, and closer, and it keeps going until it finds a number that actually works 100%. So I know there's only one answer to this because it's just single x's, there's no squares or anything, so it may as well start at 24, which was probably the last answer that it worked out for me. So just press equals and it tells me quite quickly that the answer is 4, x equals 4, and this bit here, L minus R, tells me because it's 0, it got it absolutely 100% accurate, it's definitely 4. There are some really grotty equations you can give it where it can't do it. It tries its best, but if that number isn't 0, it's saying this is as close as I could get, but it's not perfect. But if you get a 0 there, it's definitely a 4. And you won't have anything in GCSE, and probably not even in A-level, that's grotty enough that the calculator can't do it. Let's do the next example. This one has an S, and I don't have an S button, but I can just use the X button as long as I remember to write S again for the answer and not put X, because that might give the game away. So 10 minus 2x alpha equals x minus 8. Oh, good job I checked that I'd written it right, because I accidentally tapped the 8 button twice. So make sure it does look exactly the same as what you've got. Shift solve. Remember, that's the answer we had last time. This is now the new guess. I don't mind if you start at 4, Mr. Calculator, carry on. And it tells me the answer is 6. And it also tells me it got it absolutely spot on. So if I got 6 doing it manually, I'm happy and I can go to the next question. Now for the third example, it's a quadratic. And yes, this calculator does have a really good quadratic solving function. And you ought to use that if you're solving a quadratic like this. But I'm going to do shift solve for this one just to show you how to cope if you think there's 2 answers and how to find both with shift solve, or to check if there's 2 answers if you're not sure. So again, I just type it in exactly like it says, x squared plus 9x plus 20 alpha equals 0. Shift solve, and again it comes up with the last answer. Well, yeah, why not? Just go with that. Let's see what happens. and it gives me an answer of -4, and we're happy. But I know because there's a squared, there's a second answer. There's two answers to this equation. But is it smaller? Is it less than -4? Or could it be 20 or 50 and something really big? The shift solve button will always find the nearest answer. So to find the other answer, when I do shift solve, I'm going to say don't start at -4, because if you start at -4, well, that's an answer. So instead, I'm going to tell it to start at -1,000, something really big to be well past the other answer, assuming it's less than 4, and then see what it comes up with. Aha, it gave me -5, so that's my other answer. Now, if this had given me -4 again, then obviously the number would have been much bigger than the -4 and the 6 that it started with. So you could shift solve and then put positive 1,000 in to make sure you get the other answer. Oops. Shift solve x is 1,000, and there it goes back to my -4. So putting in big guesses or very negative guesses, big negative numbers, will just scan for the nearest answer. And most exam questions, the answers are going to be, relatively reasonable. They're not going to be out in the millions or something, most of the time anyway. So what about this last one? Now this looks more like an A-level question, but the calculator should still cope with it. So let's type it in just like it looks. Log to the base 2 of x minus log to the base 2 of root x, but the -1 is not in the root, so move that, and this alpha equals 2. So again, just type it in exactly as it looks, shift solve, and yeah, start at -4, why not? Doesn't matter to me. Now, you might think it's broken, but the blank screen means it's thinking, so it must be having to go through lots of repetitions to find the answer. Here it is. It's found 4 as the answer, and it's pretty confident because it got 0 for left minus right. So great, the answer is 4. Now, I'm not sure because I can't remember my logs very well. Could there be two answers, like with a quadratic? There's a root, that shouldn't give me 2, but these logs, do they give me 2? I can't remember. So as it's quite quick, I'm going to do the shift solve again and just try, well, let's go crazy. Let's go 10,000, something really big to check that not another answer bigger than 4. Okay, still gives me 4, but what if there was a negative answer? So shift solve again and put in -10,000, just to check that there's nothing else there lurking. And it's having a good old think. Just have to wait. There it comes up, still 4. So this doesn't tell me that there's only one answer, but what it does tell me is there's only one answer between -10,000 and +10,000. So I'm pretty confident that this is the only answer. Sometimes, especially if you're doing sine, cos, and tan, harder GCSE or definitely A-level questions, there are multiple answers, and so using the shift solve to scan for extra answers by putting in the guesses is a really good technique. Make sure you found all the answers and to check that you've not missed any out, because that will lose you marks. So a quick recap. On the normal settings of the calculator, just type it in exactly as it looks, but do check it, because if you ask it the wrong question, the calculator will give you the right answer but to the wrong question, which is no good to you. If you haven't got the right letters, just substitute them as X or whatever you fancy in the calculator. Just remember to use the correct letter back on the exam paper. If there might be, or if you know there are multiple answers, then when that shift solve comes up with that guess in the highlighted in black, you can change that to be a really big or a really big negative number to scan through to find both of your answers. And if you're not sure if it has, then chuck that big and small number in and see what it does. And it will just tell you that there is only the one answer. The key thing, the real key thing, is that when you, I thought it might have an equation left in it, when you have something that you're shift solving, like this, shift solve, that's not the answer. don't write that one down. That's the calculator saying, where do you want me to start? That's the answer. Only when you have L minus R equals 0 can you confidently know that that's the answer to your equation. That's it for now. Until next time, bye.